Hello, everybody. P.Caliendo here in Taichung, Taiwan. Yes, you heard it right. Taichung, Taiwan, one of the best baseball countries in the world. We're here for the WBSC, World Baseball Softball Confederation Premier 12 International Tournament. It is the best 12 teams in the world qualifying for the Olympics. So it'll be interesting. This is an actual qualifier for 2020 Tokyo Olympics. And this was the first round. We just finished it, and we will be on our way to Tokyo, Japan for the super round. We have some great teams here. We had Japan, Chinese Taipei, Puerto Rico, and Venezuela. But the two teams that will be going on will be Chinese Taipei and Japan. So we'll be able to see all the other countries there in Tokyo. And with me, our good friend M.Carlucci. Yes, another Italian. That's all we have on this show is Italians. And,
sauce, baby, sauce. Yeah, making some sauce, man. Yeah.
He is a world-renowned public address announcer. He is the address announcer for the World Baseball Softball Confederation here at the Premier 12. Formerly also with the Dodgers and the Yankees as a public address announcer, a TV and film actor and voice-over artist. Now you're going to understand when I say voice-over artist, you're gonna know why, because he's got a tremendous voice. So he's gonna make my voice sound a little different.
What do you mean? What?
Let's welcome the man of the hour, M.Carlucci.
Hey, P.Caliendo. Always a pleasure to hang out with you here. We always have lots of fun. And by the way, we're in conjunction with Carlucci Broadcast International, M.Carlucci, as Peter said. It's all part of a double show here of The Bottom Line and baseball outside the box. So we're doing like a double play here, and how fitting, double play, the term used quite a bit and played on the field there during a game here. So it's great to be here, Peter. You are a fantastic guy to work with, and you are Mr. Organization here. This guy organized, he's a technical director of the WBSC for this tournament. This tournament so far has been fantastic. Split up, though, different countries, Jalisco, Mexico, Korea, and now it's getting down to the nitty-gritty. They were finishing things up here in Taiwan, Chinese Taipei, Japan, and Chinese Taipei with a super game last night. Big crowd. Japan, though, just too strong. Big 8-1 victory now. Both, though, qualifying and moving in to the next round to Tokyo, which we leave here in a couple of days. This is, of course, the world premiere. It's the Premier 12 baseball tournament put on by the WBSC, and this is what they do this every 4 years. This is our second one, correct?
Correct. And okay. The WBSC, so you know, is the World Baseball Softball Confederation, the governing body of the sport internationally. We also will be operating the Olympics in Tokyo 2020.
Next summer, and they've done the test events, and everything looks good. We have some representative here that were from the Olympic Committee from Tokyo, and they love the show that the organization put on for this world premiere, the Premier 12 baseball tournament, and we're all looking forward to getting to Tokyo coming up here for the summer next year. So I wanted to ask you, Pete, how long have you been involved with the WBSC? I know you have a big coaching background, coaching for, of course, the USA, but how did you get merged into this? Very interesting and we're very lucky to be part of this, and I'd like to know how you get linked.
You know, and speaking about lucky, well, you know, we're both fortunate to do this, and we'll go into it. But let me ask you, we're a two-man show here, but we're very good at what we do.
Yeah.
Why don't we show the folks a little bit the stadium?
Okay.
You know, we got we'll be able to show the folks by.
You want me to move our?
Yeah, let's show them how lucky we are to be able to be in this venue here in Taichung, a beautiful venue where our groundskeepers did a great job. Right now, where are we? We're watching the Japanese national team train.
And let's turn our by the way, this is a brand new camera, so we must plug it and show the fans and the viewers of what we're watching and what we get to look at every day. This is what Team Japan
Team Japan practice, private practice.
Yeah, is in the middle of a private practice as they get set to travel to Tokyo. We'll round up the whole tournament, what's going on, and where some of the teams are continue to qualify are going in a second. As you can see, and I believe, let's see, I'll make sure by standing up if we can get, does it look like, yeah, there you go.
What a beautiful sight, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
beautiful ballpark.
That's the backstop right there. As Japan in their private practice doing some batting practice, and they're out in the field there doing some stretching.
A lot of media.
Tons of media, and I'll kind of move it this way. Let's see if we can see some of them there. I think we can. Doing the best I can here upside down, but I think you can see part of it. There's some people on the dugout. I guess they're taking some photos and getting ready to interview some of the players. And Here's a wide range, if you will, of the entire stadium here. This is Taichung Stadium. This is the main stadium here during the Premier 12 in Taiwan. So here you go. Fantastic camera work there.
And Michael, what a great game last night! Over 20-some thousand fans.
Yeah, I mean that's the good thing about the Chinese Taipei fan. They're so into it, and they're so honored to root for the team, win or lose. I mean, as we know in the United States, Major League Baseball, if you're losing 8-0, you go home. You leave in the 7th inning to beat the traffic. Here, these people stay here till the end. Fantastic win. Both teams qualified, by the way, for the next round. Chinese Taipei, the host, of course, here in Taiwan, and then, of course, Japan now moving on, and they're going to be hosting the final round, which is next week, and we're going to be headed there to the Tokyo Dome. So we'll round that up in just a few, but let's go into P.Caliendo, the man, the myth, the legend. Yes, technical director of the people that are make sure the rules, regulations are followed here for the international baseball play. Again, how did you link up with your?
It goes
coaching.
It goes back a while, but basically, I was very fortunate. I've done some international work early on in my career when I was younger. Had great mentors, and then Paul Seiler, the president of USA Baseball, just thought, never told me. He just recommended my name to at that time, the International Baseball Federation, which is now the WBSC. Recommended me, and next thing you know, they approved it. The executive board approved it, and I'm on a plane. Matter of fact, to Taichung, Taiwan, which is down south.
Yeah,
that was my very first event, the 18U World Championships, and that's where I learned what a technical director does. Basically, handles all on-field technical issues when it comes to the managers, the protest, also the times of the batting practices. Team meetings, managers meetings. There's a lot of different things that go on. Understanding the rules of baseball, obviously, the major league rules, along with our WBSC rules. And I've been doing it probably around 20 years now, and very lucky because there's been a lot of people that would want to be in this position, be able to travel the world, see some of the best baseball teams in the world, have this type of experience. So it's been very fortunate.
Let me ask you this: so, how would you put together your team of technical commissioners? And is there, is it stated a rule that you have to get different countries commissioners or commissioners from other countries mixed in together? You can't, because obviously you can't have Chinese Taipei commissioners working a Chinese Taipei game, right? You have to mix and match different countries, the representatives.
Correct.
And what's the process?
And our chief, who's Jim Baba from Baseball Canada, he handles a lot of the recruitment of different people that are going to be technical directors. Also, that we host a lot of training sites around the world, so that way they understand. When I grew up in it, nobody really taught me anything about what it was all about. I learned right there when I showed up at the field what to do. But right now, we actually have training programs. So when we select the individuals, first of all, their background have to be, somewhere in, where you've managed or coached baseball teams at a national level, at a collegiate level, somewhere where you understand the game, because you're going to be dealing with professionals in the game.
Sure.
And then, yes, there's times, obviously, you can't put an American technical person in a USA game or a Taiwanese game.
Absolutely.
So you've got to have a variety of people from around the world, so that way, and we normally in teams of twos at every game, be from different countries, and then you have the head technical person overseeing everything.
What and how many technical commissioners have to be present at each particular game?
Each particular game, 2. Sometimes if it's a gold medal game, we'll assign 3.
Yeah, I used to have a backup if someone gets sick or something.
Yep.
I always have a backup. So just like umpires, I always have extra umpires and so forth. But so the training process. So let's say myself, or let's say like this guy walking right here. He wanted to be a technical commissioner. How you doing, man? Ni hao.
Ni hao.
Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Great people here, by the way.
Yeah,
absolutely. They treat us like gold here.
And how about that game last night, real quick?
Yeah.
8-1, they're losing. This place had 20-some thousand fans. They're still cheering.
Yeah, like we
2
said.
outs in the last inning, they were still cheering.
Yeah, they have the sticks, and they do not leave until it's over.
Unbelievable.
It could be 100-0.
Great fans.
Yeah, it could be 50-0, 100-0. They'd still be here because they love the game of baseball. They take pride in it. They
Absolutely.
take pride in rooting for their country. So, like him walking by, and myself wanted to be a technical commissioner. How long is the training process? I mean, what?
It's a 3-4 day training process. What's great about it's on field and in classroom. So basically, we in classroom, we go over some of the rules and regulations
Mhm.
of what the technical person does.
Yeah.
And then we go to a ball game.
Okay.
And we recreate everything the same. So
Right.
you get behind
Like
home
a
plate,
rehearsal,
your
yeah.
rehearsal, you got the
Okay.
forms, you walk around. You
Yeah.
do everything what you can do. Pre-game, interviews, pre-game ceremony,
Mhm.
managers meetings. So they go through everything.
Mhm.
And so they're able to experience exactly what you're going to do in a real situation. Because there's
Yeah.
going to be a little bit of pressure. So we want to try to put them under that pressure right away and understanding how you deal with it.
Yeah, and all the guys that you have here working for the many years I've known you, that they're all top-notch guys. You guys train them really good because I
Absolutely.
can tell they're on the ball. They do a fantastic job,
And you got to keep your eyes open because we're dealing, remember, with different cultures. So
Mhm.
they're all used to doing different things. So all of a sudden,
Right.
a team might come in on the field and start playing catch in the infield for warm-ups. Well, they're going to tear up the grass. We can't allow them to
not
do
a
that.
good thing. Yeah,
In the U.S., you're not going to do that, but in another country, it might be
It's
something you do
allowed.
all the time. Exactly.
Yeah, so they're used to it.
What about situations where some countries in the past have, in games, they didn't have a ball and there's a play at third and they might fake a tag with no ball to force the runner to slide. Well, that's a
Right.
no-no in the United States.
Right.
But
right.
that's not a no-no in other countries. So we got to be able to understand all these different cultures, go over the rules, make sure that everybody understands. If you give you an example, another rule would be, when do you bunt, stop bunting, and when you stop stealing, right?
Mhm.
In some countries you don't.
Yeah.
In the U.S., you have certain rules that are unfortunately unwritten rules.
Mhm.
But if you ask everybody when you do that, well, everybody gives you 3 different answers.
Yeah.
So if you're playing an international event, Australia may have one way of thinking, Cuba may have another, the U.S. another. So if we're not on the same page, that's when you have issues on the field.
Absolutely. By the way, if you just joined us, this is a double play here in baseball. A double play broadcast. Carlucci Broadcast International, part of the Bottom Line, traveling abroad here on location in Taichung, Taiwan, and part of course, Baseball Outside the Box with Peter Caliendo of Caliendo Sports International. So, Peter, like, let's say my first day working as a technical commissioner. What are the things? Some of the things you just mentioned, but what are some of the other things that I really got to keep my eye on during the game?
Well, first of all, the time that they're taking batting practice, because teams are always going to want to take a little extra batting practice.
They try sneaking in. Hey, give us 5 more.
Exactly,
Yeah.
give us 5 more.
This guy wants a couple more.
A little
hit.
bit of an
Yeah.
edge.
Yeah.
Taking infield, outfield, they might
Yeah.
want to take a little bit more infield, outfield.
Yeah.
Things like national flags that are out, and certain national flags, as you know, here in Taiwan, they can't fly. In international competition, they can't fly their country flag.
Yeah.
So if it's up, that's going to be a problem because now the Olympic Committee is not going to be very happy with that. So there's a lot of little things, people on the field, who's in the dugouts, who's in charge of what, knowing that the umpires are here, communicating with the umpires, the ball boys, the balls are being rubbed down professionally. The umpire, like I said, the umpires are here. There's a lot of little things that you got to constantly be aware of that the scoreboard's working. As you know, nowadays, and I want to get your opinion later about all this. We have a pitch clock, 20-second pitch clock. You got to pitch with no runners on. You got to pitch by that time.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to make sure that the game's going a little bit faster pace.
Right.
We've got pitch clocks for when a manager goes out to the mound. We got instant replay, something exciting in some ways.
Yeah.
You see it
The
in Major League Baseball.
Video review.
Video
Yeah.
review.
For a close play.
Well,
yeah.
are the headsets working? Are the people there? Is the communication ready to
Right.
go? So there's a lot of little details that have to be, assured that are working correctly.
Yeah, this TC really has to be on the ball. That's why we
Absolutely.
have 2 of them, and of course they have like a little mini in their head, little checklist.
Yeah,
on
and we've
what to
got it written
expect,
down also.
which is nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's always that's why a lot of these games go pretty smoothly. I would say 90% of the time. Speaking of which, of the clocks, because sometimes if that clock on the scoreboard area doesn't work, so obviously the guy's got a handheld just in case. Right?
Yes,
Okay,
we've got to back
okay.
up. Our umpires have it.
Okay.
And even in pregame, during batting practice, the clock may not go down there. So now we have to go by
Yeah.
our clock,
Keep the handheld.
our watch, and let the managers know on
Sure.
the times. Some countries are on time all the time, and some are
Yeah.
not. So we're there to kind of keep them on time.
Good. That's your position. That's your job. Let me ask you this: like example, if video review is being called, a close play at the plate or first base, a tag or catch, whatever. What is there a special time limit for that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the umpire's got the headset on and he's got.
Yeah,
okay.
but first of all, once the play ends,
Mhm.
now the manager has to come out within 10 seconds and let the umpire know.
Let him know.
Yeah, like that.
I like to take a look. Yeah.
Take a look, but no, not right away. He just wants the play to stop, and not to continue.
Okay.
Then he has 20 seconds to make a decision. Do I want them to review it?
Oh, okay. Okay.
The manager can say no and go back in, or tell the umpire review it. And now
Please.
the headsets come out. Both two
Yeah.
umpires come to home plate. You obviously
Yeah.
have two. Our staff comes out, making sure that nobody's around the umpires.
Yeah.
They communicate to the to the box,
Yeah.
and then the decision is made.
Okay, cool. Because I know we had one last night, which was kind of exciting, and
Yeah.
it was one of those plays. I think it was the play was at third base, and
Yep.
the call he was out, but the third baseman looks like, well, did he touch him? Did he tag him? It was hard to see. So then that's why I guess he said 10 seconds. He made the call. The Chinese Taipei manager says, "Okay, I want to give me 20 more seconds.
Yep.
Make the decision." And then I guess he looked at it in house. And that's why he said, "Please take a look." So
Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
and that was not an easy call on the manager's side, because
Yeah.
that happens at fast motion, and
Yeah.
he's got to make a decision.
Right.
Even as we went through the instant replay in the booth,
Mhm.
it looked like that he was out. But when they blew it up,
different angle.
different angle,
Mhm.
and they blew it up, they saw the glove that
Yeah.
didn't touch, and the hand touched first. We
Yeah.
don't have that ability to do that on TV.
Yeah, and the umpire, from his angle, he was blocked, and watching
Yep.
it from that back, it looked like he tagged him.
Yeah.
And that's why, because not everybody's perfect, because we only have two eyes, so thank goodness for video review. So speaking of which, let's go into the umpires. So also, your technical commissioners from different countries, different parts, umpires as well, correct? They have to mix
Correct.
and
And
match for different countries and things like that. So, and who decides that? That's what are your...
Gus Rodriguez,
Yeah.
our director of
Mhm.
umpires. He's been
Mhm.
doing it a long time. College World
Yeah.
Series umpire behind the plate. Matter of fact,
Mhm.
he's got a ton of experience. Does a lot of clinics around the world
Yeah.
training umpires,
Yeah.
and he selects them. But he has a staff. And Larry
Yeah.
Young, Major League supervisor with
Mhm.
Major League Baseball, helps him, and he's got other assistants around the world. And the important thing is the umpires qualified to be at that level.
Yeah.
Because it's a very high level, as you know, the Premier 12, the best players in the world.
Right.
So they've got to make sure they can qualify, can handle it at that level,
Mhm.
and they go through training also.
And you work very close with Gus. You have to. You
We
guys
do.
got to be
we
on the
do
same
work close.
page 24,
Absolutely.
24/7, 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
Well, I was going to ask you about. By the way, Gus, great guy. He's a 49er fan and a Giants fan.
Yeah.
So Giants was So I first time met him. Oh, Giants fan, 49ers fan. Okay, good. I know I like the guy already. So no, good guy though. But yeah, well connected. Well, this guy, like I say, he knows his stuff. So. Now let's talk about the tournament, how this thing is put together. Because now that the Olympics has baseball again, baseball's back. 2020 Tokyo next summer. So this particular tournament, the Premier 12 baseball tournament put on through the WBSC, it's all part of now qualifying to get into the Olympics. So 12 teams. We had 4 different locations. Jalisco, Mexico. We had Korea, and then Taiwan, Chinese Taipei, and then now it's moving on to Tokyo, Japan next week. And this is for all the marbles,
Yep.
all the fun.
We've had 2 teams already qualify.
Yeah.
Israel qualified out of Europe.
Yeah.
Obviously, the host Japan is already
Japan's
in.
already in, yeah.
So now that means we have 4 more teams to qualify.
To move on, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Because there's going to be 6 teams in the Olympics. Not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the Americas, and
Yeah.
Asia, and a lot of great countries. And just in
Canada,
those-
Australia
Yep.
is still live.
we got Cuba still live.
Mexico.
Tonight, Korea and Cuba play. That's going to be a big determining factor. Will they go on to Tokyo?
Big game today. Australia knocked off Canada 3-1, beating them in a very close game. They scored late in the game, and
That keeps Australia still in the mix.
still in the mix. And Mexico's played very well, and Puerto Rico and Dominican, I believe.
Puerto Rico,
Venezuela.
Dominican, and Venezuela, which are very surprising.
Yeah.
3 of the top, countries in Latin America, very strong
Mhm.
countries, some of the best,
Mhm.
have not qualified, and that's just amazing. Because that gives you an idea
Mhm.
how baseball is growing around the world and becoming stronger, also
Yeah.
in other countries.
Absolutely. And now we met years ago. We're many besides the Premier 12. This is the second version. We met here in Chinese Taipei 4 years ago, and then there was the International Baseball Tournament in Holland. That was a lot of fun because Netherlands is another team. that's always playing well. It'll be one year they're kind of, and then next year they did very well at the World Baseball Classic. Got in the top four, I believe. And of course, they have a great manager there, Hensley.
Hensley Mullins, our buddy Hensley.
Yeah.
Hensley, if you're listening,
you're the best.
You are the best.
Bam, bam, all the way, man.
Manager, got to be a manager in the big leagues.
Yeah,
soon.
and I won't say anything, but I wish he was running this club as he should be. Hensley, you should be running this team. I'm sorry, man. You should be there, but hey, they say when one door closes, a bigger one opens up for you, pal. So we'll always have our back. We'll have your back. You have our back. We'll have your back. So, and then of course, like I said, the international game has exploded so well. Like I said, they had the Holland International Baseball Tournament there in the Netherlands, and then of course the Olympics. Last time we were in Beijing in 2008. Greece in 2004. So glad it's back. And I can't remember what the first one we worked, but I know we of course, two Italians hit it off. But
the first Olympics we worked was Beijing.
Okay, Beijing. That's right.
Imagine two Italians hitting Beijing. That's an interesting time.
That was a fun time. But we got to know each other, and we got to meet some great people like Gus, and the list goes on. And we must talk about the international baseball game is a lot different than the majors or the minors. There's rules you got to follow between each inning, like technically, of course, with the technical commissioners down on the field and the announcers and the tech crew that announce to the crowd, the public address announcing, and the script has to follow a lot of rules and regulations and guidelines, similar to the major leagues. But in the international game, the host country or any country can bring. They have cheerleaders during the game, like the Chinese Taipei love to.
Matter of fact, last night here, with 20-some thousand fans, they had a disc jockey, cheering, leading the cheers.
Cheerleading, they put a girl on the field between an inning, and then she kept talking, and we're ready for the next pitch for the next inning. And in the majors, of course, no, that's no. Once you can do anything between the half inning break, music, commercial, whatever you want to do, a contest. But once they once they get that inning going, the umpire says, "Well, let's get the pitch going." Silence. Silence is golden. No noise, no music, no nothing. But in the international game, that's okay to do.
What's unique is on the field a lot of times, and that's where the game becomes a little different, because we when you go take out a pitcher, you actually have 3 free trips when you go to the mound. So you don't have to take the pitcher out. If you do it twice in an inning, you got to take them out.
Yeah,
but
just like the pros. Yeah.
But if you do it 3 times in a row, you get 3 free ones. The 4th time you have to take them out. Every time after that, you have to take them out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little different because it's not the same as.
And that's your job to make sure that everything's followed. So,
us and the communication with the umpires
and the technical commissioners that sit down there. So that's your gig. You have to make sure.
The other interesting thing, and our folks around the world know this, and a lot of you, I guess that we call non-pure baseball people like me. I'm not a traditionalist. Remember Beijing? That's where we started the extra inning rule.
Yes.
Where if it's a tie ball game, boy, everybody went up on arms.
Oh, they were mad.
Now it's being used all over the world.
Yeah.
And that's basically when the game's tied in the 9th. Now you go into the 10th. Yeah. You're going to put 2 runners on base.
They're bringing in the college baseball world too.
You've seen it in independent baseball.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of different areas. Sure, because the game of baseball, if it goes on too long, the fans are going to leave. They don't want to sit there for 14 innings.
Yeah. They've adapted, and then, like I said, you start the inning off with runners at first and second.
Yep.
And so that's like, hey, okay, scoring possibility. But also the next half inning, the other team, the home team, gets a chance for it too.
And there's some strategy. Matter of fact, in the Australia game we were watching last night, they went to the extra innings, and Australia pinch hit for the hitter. There were man on first and second, nobody out. And they chose not to bunt the runners over to second and third. They chose to hit. So it's a little bit of a strategy. Who's the bunter is, right? Can he bunt?
Right.
If he can bunt, maybe you'll get it down and you move runners second and third. Your odds of scoring are very high now.
Sack fly.
And you got to run.
Yeah.
They chose not to do it. And what happened, there was a fly ball, 1 out, next 2 guys struck out. Next team came in, they won the ball game.
Yeah, you're the home team. That's where the benefit can be. If you can, if you're the road team and you don't
score,
don't get any runs across, that home team has the opportunity.
So those are 2 unique things about the international game
that have changed. Yeah. So, you have any questions for me? What happens up in the booth?
I got a lot of questions.
Okay, let's hit it.
But one of the questions before we get to the booth,
I
want to ask you simply what you thought about the games that you saw. Give us some analysis of, what you saw about the games, the teams, something different about the clubs, that you thought, wow, this is interesting how they do things.
Yeah, I mean, as we know, Team Japan, the way they put their organization together, the country reps, We were on the field earlier talking about these guys just train every day of the year. It seems like they're conditioned properly. They do more than just batting practice and infield practice, outfield practice. They're continually getting their mindset, stretching and doing calisthenics, and they got the trainer out there. If there's any problems with muscle pulls or they've had a previous injury, he's out there helping them get loose, and they just continue. And they have the diet and the meditation, and they just. I watch that. I watch different countries how they prepare. I have to say, United States is a lot different, as you know. Australia's a lot different, but like Japan, and I know Chinese Taipei, they really go in a different direction of how serious they can be. But going back to the games, man, just watching how they prep and how there's some of the strategy. Some of these games have been really, really good. Most of the games were pretty close. Last night, not so far. Japan just got off to a good start, and they had great pitching and won the game 8-1. But there's been a lot of 3-2 games and 5-3 games, and I'm looking forward to watching these countries go at it, go for the marbles there in Tokyo this summer, 2020.
And the amount of money that you could win in this, WBSC Premier 12 is about over $5 million that's being dealt out throughout all the teams.
Yeah.
And now as we go into the super round, it's going to get tougher because now you got some of the better ones getting together.
Yeah.
And talk about that. We're watching right now the Japanese actually training live pitching. And with live hitters, they're not just wasting their time on batting practice. They're actually going after each other.
Pitchers are getting their workouts. They're getting their work.
This is during the season.
Yeah, this is what they'd be doing on the side of the field, getting their work in, warming up their pitching and getting set. But no, they're doing live hitting here with live pitching. So like I said, this is there's a lot of money at stake, a lot of pride. Obviously, the medal ceremonies are always a fun thing for the teams that get their gold, the silver, the bronze, and then of course pushing into the Olympics next summer. But no, it's just the game. It's just so different, and the atmosphere. Not just because of the international feel, but it just really feels like because Major League Baseball has so many games until you get to the World Series, the playoffs. That's when you really focus a little bit more.
This is like the playoffs and World Series.
Yeah.
You go right to them. You skip the season.
Yeah, the postseason starts now, and we're watching some of the best players of each country, some of the best pitching, some of the best defense, some of the greatest strategy played, put together. If the strategy works out, it benefits them, then it's even better. But no, I'm looking forward to next week in Tokyo. That's where we're moving on next, correct?
Correct.
For the finals, and then we just kind of. And then we have any more stops? There's a couple more stops after that, right?
Well, there'll be two stadiums that we'll be using for the super rounds. There'll be Tokyo Dome and also Chiba Japan Stadium.
Yeah.
Chiba Lions, I believe. Chiba Lotte Lions.
Chiba Lotte,
Chiba Lotte, I believe. And so they're going to be playing there, and then the finals will be in the Tokyo Dome. The Tokyo Dome, if you've never been there, it's electrifying. Obviously indoors. Packed house,
a lot of noise
constantly, and just like last night, they never stopped. It wasn't where they waited for their guy to get a hit, and then they cheered. They're cheering the whole ball game every second of the day. I mean, it's incredible. It's amazing.
The co-announcer,
and in sync. They're always in sync.
The co-announcer DJ on that microphone every inning, every half inning, I should say. They were on it like a new suit.
And I had a pleasure being up in the booth watching the master at work, the Carlucci at work as the P announcer. That's a special skill. One thing you had to do, and tell us about how you prepare for it, but also you had to kind of work around the DJ because he also had speakers out here.
Yeah, he was blabbing quite a bit. We had to get him to be quiet because we had a lot of.
But that's unique.
Well, you got to get on the handy talkie, and they have to send somebody down there and say, hey, they got to, because we have some changes, pitching changes, defensive changes, or a pinch hitter, so we got to make sure he quits yapping so we can get it in there because we have to do both. Chinese Taipei, which would be Cantonese. So we have two announcements. One in Cantonese and one's in English. So you got to do it fast. You got to get on it. You got to do it before the umpire, says, "Hey, let's get the batter up." So preparing though before the game is there's a script, and got to make sure that the translation is copacetic with the Chinese. Because remember, they could write something out in Chinese, and then the translation comes to English. It doesn't make sense because it's just the way it is. It's a lot of languages are like that around the world. Mm-hmm. So I got to grab it. I got to edit and write my own thing. The safety announcements, like be careful. Baseball's entering the stands and things like that. Can't climb on the guardrails and interfere with the ball, and don't run on the field, and don't interfere with the play.
Let's give them the real, not the intro, but give them an idea how you introduce the player, the next batter.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Okay, like you always wait for the batter to get halfway up
Yeah,
to.
I noticed that because
Yeah.
sometimes they want to do it too soon.
Yeah, and you got to make sure because maybe they might have a pinch hitter come in, so you have to kind of wait, and then you see the batter come halfway up to the batter's box, and you would say, "Now batting for Team Japan, number 24, right fielder Suzuki Tatsuro," and then the Chinese announcer would say, you know,
Their
yeah,
part.
but she doesn't have to repeat the names. So like last night, since obviously it's her home language, Chinese Taipei. So let's say let's say Chinese Taipei was up. So I would say it first. I would say now batting for Chinese Taipei, the right fielder number 24. I would stop, and then she would do her Chinese language, what I just said, and she would do the name like Ling Ching Chu. You know, that's the second baseman for Chinese Taipei. So, but then when the Japanese were up, she would say in Chinese. Leading off for Team Japan, right fielder number 24, whatever. And then she would pause, and then I would go, leading off for Team Japan, number 7, Suzuki Tatsuto, right fielder. And that's it.
Now,
Boom.
how do you know? This is interesting.
And you
because
follow the lineup. You have
okay,
a lineup
but how
sheet.
do man? There's a lot of different names, a lot of different pronunciations. How do you know you're pronouncing the name correctly? Because that's key.
Yes. Well, you know, working all these events, these international events, I'm kind of familiar with the Japanese and the Spanish names, Hispanic names, and working hockey, international hockey. So I'm kind of used to it. But if I do see names that I'm not familiar with, I'll go to the rep of each country. You know, they're like delegate or liaison. I'll say, hey, how do you? And they run it. We run by the roster, and then I'll just make corrections and help myself. But I don't have to worry about the Chinese Taipei name because, any of it, because they do it themselves. And then if the umpires are pretty much, if they're not a Chinese Taipei umpire, I'll read those, And so the Chinese Taipei announcer pretty much everything that has to do with the stadium. Like she has to introduce the DJ.
Mm-hmm.
She handles all that. I don't have to worry about doing that in English. But so all rosters I get ahead of time, weeks ahead of time, and I go through them. And if there's any names that I have maybe a problem pronouncing, one was kind of questionable, never seen the name before, I just get together with their delegates of each team, the team reps.
I understand.
And they help me out, yeah. So going back to the scripts, I go through them, I take their Chinese verbiage, or whoever's hosting the event, go through it, boom, and then I just translate it to English to make it more comfortable, make it sound like back home in the United States, how I would read it there. So,
as you're speaking there, I got to break for a second because it's amazing. These guys are Japanese professional major league players, and look at them work on their swing. I mean, even slow motion, even talking to each other about the swing. They're talking hitting. I mean, they're always working. It's amazing. They never stop working. I mean, they were working down in the right field line, left field line, in the center field. There's never a break.
They're constantly training and constantly going over improvements. Guy's batting 400. He still needs to improve. In America, hey, you're batting 400. Hey, don't do anything. Don't change anything.
Yeah.
They're just amazing professionals. But yeah, some of the best, and probably the best of Team Japan. All the countries' teams have their best players that are available. Some are not available to represent. I know, like Team USA had to bring in some veteran ball players that had major league experience, but they're probably not really young. They're probably like early mid-30s, late 30s. But they're great players who are still in good condition, good shape. They just are good players that need to play. I mean, you got to fill a roster out,
Yeah.
But it's who's available and able to play. But Japan, I noticed all those guys, they make sure they're ready because they have so much pride and more time available to play. So.
And speaking of preparation,
Yeah.
With your expertise, when what kind of preparation do you do before the event? And on top of that, there might be some people listening that I want to be a PA announcer, at the professional level, but I got to start off somewhere. Where do I start? What do I need to work on? Voice, I would assume, is very important.
Well, very important. And then you have to work on your delivery. Take like a voiceover workshop or a diction workshop. Of course, if you know the sport or the game, you're halfway there. But it's just prepping of knowing the ins and outs of what to say and what not to say during the game or during the broadcast. If you're into the broadcast side of the field, if you're doing play-by-play or color, it's something you have to develop. It doesn't happen overnight. But the key is know the sport. Take a workshop and then of course if you read out loud a lot at home or just kind of notice different things of your voice, what you like about it, and then don't copy anybody. Don't imitate anybody.
Be
Try to-
yourself.
Yeah, be yourself, and you can emulate your favorite people. Emulate them. But
But now when I listen to my voice, I'm sure a lot of people are the same. You've listened to your voice on a tape recorder, you say, man, that doesn't sound good at all. But somebody else comes along and says, actually, it doesn't sound that bad.
no. Well,
Are we never happy with our own voice?
always people. Yeah, I mean, myself, I go, yeah, I could have done it a different way if I'm doing like a voiceover and say, I should have recorded a different way that I like. But some people, no, I like it the way you did it. Now, your voice is fantastic because you have a very good conversational voice. In fact, your voice to me is like a coach, and that's your background. You coached for many years, and you still coach. So you have the nice delivery. You have, I mean, when you did the press conference and you did the little meeting with the technical commissioners and the umpires.
Boy, how about that press conference?
Oh my gosh, that was crazy. That was wild.
It had to be over 100 media people. I remember going on stage and just flash bulbs everywhere. And I mean, it was just an incredible press conference.
But you were very engaging. You didn't really care about how your delivery was. You were just personal, like you were just talking to your next door neighbor. You did a very good job because you know the people too, which is good, and you're comfortable. The key is to be comfortable with yourself. If you can be comfortable with yourself, be happy, feel it. I mean, sometimes you got to go on the microphone and say something you don't want to say, but that's okay. Just move on. Just it's a bump in the road. Just jump over it. So,
hey, is there ever a time? This is something I wanted to ask. Is there a time when you're in a PA system where you think of something that you want to say and you just do it? It's non-scripted.
Oh yeah, I try to ad lib sometimes, especially if there's like a commotion happening in the field, like. Well, we like to promote the WBSC.org, our website.
Oh, absolutely.
And I never had anything. I just did off the top of my head. Hey, I would say something like, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to follow all the action, all the great results of the Premier 12 Baseball Tournament. Log on to WBSC.org or check us out at Twitter and Facebook. Boom, that's it. So
perfect.
Yeah, but that's because of my years knowing how to ad lib real quick and bringing it out there. But that's something that just takes time to get comfortable doing it. So. And
as we're talking, we see the Japanese team ending their 2 to 3 hour training.
Gosh.
And folks, one thing that you can't see right now, and we saw it in the games. This is another part of the game that I love about the Japanese.
They love to practice.
Well, not just practice then, but you notice when they came off, they bowed to the field. Some of them, even in a ball game, they'll bow to the fans.
The pitcher,
after the game.
Especially the pitcher.
Yeah, the pitcher. They'll bow to the umpire. They have so much respect for the game.
Yeah.
You don't see them throwing equipment. You don't see equipment on the ground. You don't see them getting upset. One thing I noticed during the game last night, which I thought was critical, all these people out here, all the excitement, they're obviously not the home team. Boy, could they just stay level-headed. I mean, you didn't see any emotion one way or the other on the Japanese player. No. Then you wonder why they can play so well under pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Their mind, it's like they hypnotize themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just so focused. They're straight. United States, some players, they get a little cocky and they get all pissed.
You see reactions.
Like a bat hit the Gatorade jug.
But you even see a reaction during a strike, right?
No.
Or a bad call from the umpire. No. You don't see that from the Japanese umpires.
Manners. They're just raised. Their parents raised them great. Their coaches give them manners, and the coaching continues like parents. Their coaches, the way they coach, and you can relate this because you're a coach. It's like you're parenting. You're showing them the right way to be, and that's why you see it on the field, win or lose. Other countries, similar, but I got to say, United States and Canada, you guys, we get mad. I don't care. That's just the temperament. They just have a great, so they can control their temper.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was amazed at it.
Yeah. So let me ask this. So, tournament getting partially. We're 75% done now. We finish off in Japan, then we have 2 more spots after that, and then we get set for Tokyo 2020. Now, when each tournament, there's a little break in your job as being technical director. So you go right back into your coaching mode. You get back into your clinic. Tell us about the coaching clinic.
Yeah, as soon as we get done. Matter of fact, I just got back from overseas, Tunisia, and Lithuania, doing 1 week coaching programs. We get done here, I'll take a couple of weeks off, go back home, be with the family, and then take off again to Argentina, do a weekend coaching program. One of the things we love to do is, if you're going to go, this, if you're going to grow the game, around the world, well, you got to grow it at the grassroots level, and the people that can help you grow the game at the grassroots level are the coaches. If the coaches know what they're doing and they're excited about doing running practices and excited about being with kids, the kids, they feed off of that and they want to play the game more. But if the coaches are not good, well, kids are going to find something else to do because they're not having a good time. There's plenty of other sports out there to play that there's a lot more movement, a lot more action, and that's one thing baseball does lack is the action and the movement, and we've got to be able to create that in our practices. And and so we go out and basically go around the world training coaches how to do that, so that way kids will have fun and develop. And once you're having fun, you learn faster too.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you this because the Major League Baseball has been pushing the London series. They already do the MLB series in Japan. Of course, baseball's strong in Japan, so that's always a good link and connection. But the London, England, now, a little trivia, I believe the first Olympics, when they did baseball, I can't remember the year, and I won't try to guess. I know it was in the 1930s, I believe. The country, England, won the gold medal in baseball.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'd have to dig what year. I know that because I know they had a fact sheet when I was in Greece, and we were supposed to read all these.
We'll get our producer. He'll
where's he at? Oh, he's over there. He's trying to get some balls out of the dugout there. Get us 2 balls, right? Yes. Clean balls, please. No batting practice balls. But nonetheless, so as you know, England, baseball's not in their buffet of sports.
No.
But
yet they fill the stadium, all 3 games.
Yeah, it's just like
50-some thousand.
Yeah, just
fans.
like NFL football now in London. They got fans going crazy, packed Wembley Stadium. But so, what's the connection now? That get the European focus now to get more games in either obviously London, England. Are they going to shoot for Italy? Are they going to shoot for France? Maybe.
Yeah, I think it'll move around. They'll continue London for a little bit to show the sport on television in Europe, to show the kids what kind of sport it is. In order to get kids to play, you've got to be able to show them what it's all about, right? You can't just go and start playing the game. So I think the MLB has done a really good job. And they also, at the grassroots level, are developing coaches, developing players. Obviously they're looking for players all over the world. This allows them to, do a search of, since the game's becoming international, we're seeing a lot more international players at the major league level. Not just from, Venezuela or Dominican Republic or the U.S. or Canada. You're seeing, now from Japan. We've got a young man who's pitching a pitch with the Pirates from Lithuania. So you see some Russian players. you're just going to see more and more players from around develop, and that's the reason for doing the London games, is to get the exposure.
The main key was exposure is the key. So because I think they did the Boston Yankees series this year, and I
was in Beijing for the Dodger Padre game. China's a big market for Major League Baseball. If they can get one player to the big leagues, it'll be like Yao Ming in basketball.
It'll open up a can of worms.
At one point, some billion people out there, that you can get a lot of young kids playing the game.
And merchandise is always what their key as well.
That doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So, what are the teams that are lined up for London coming up? On top of
I believe the Cubs are going to London.
Yeah. It's a Cubs and Cardinals, maybe.
I think it is the Cubs and Cardinals.
Yeah, Cubs and Cardinals. And then eventually they'll probably want the Giants and Dodgers, get the rivalry teams. Boston, the Yankees, Cubs, Cardinals, Giants and Yankees.
I remember.
I'm sorry, Giants and Dodgers. I'm sorry.
I remember going back. I want to say in the '90s. I went to Japan. The Cubs were playing the Mets. That's how far back in the Tokyo Dome. Okay. I still remember my good friend Leon Lee, who played in the big leagues. He's very
Laurent Lee.
Yeah, he was popular in Japan.
Laurent Lee or Leon? Leon Lee.
There's
Leon
Lee and there's Leon. I believe Leon was playing, but I think they both played there.
They both played.
But Leon might have been the most popular one in Japan, and we were there for the series. Interesting about this because at that time, I went to dinner after the Cub game, and after dinner, this is how baseball's a small world. Went to dinner to a little small restaurant, and I look in the corner, and you're not going to believe it, but Ernie Banks was there. Yeah, and Ernie Banks and I, not that Ernie knew me, but Ernie Banks and I at that time in Chicago, he used to do a lot of shows for companies. And we used to bring in the cages, the batting cages, and he'd do demonstrations for different companies, and I'd go along with him. So I knew him a little bit. And we ended up seeing him. I ended up going up to him, and during the time he was there with his wife, and I ended up going up, and Mr. Banks, as soon as he turned around, he said, Schaumburg Flyers, and he recognized me from the independent team. What great memory. Didn't recognize the name.
Great memory, my goodness.
Not only that, but he kept talking about baseball. And I had to, I'm the one who had to say, Mr. Banks, excuse me, My friends are waiting outside. I'd love to stay and talk more, but I got to go.
Yeah.
You know, and so usually it's the opposite, right?
Yeah.
He's
Get
busy.
out of here.
But
Yeah,
he got a small world. But back then, even in the 90s, baseball was being developed around the world by bringing major league teams into Japan. The All-Star game also, right? The All-Star game, the All-Star players that went from the U.S. major league teams that toured Japan, played in Japan many years. So I was trying to promote the game worldwide.
Yeah, and then prior, like I said, in the 90s, early 2000s, they were always trying to promote the teams that had the Japanese player, like Ichiro.
Absolutely.
So Seattle and Oakland. Oakland had Suzuki at the time, the catcher on the Nationals. So they had Oakland, Seattle play because of the connection with Japanese. But now they're all the Japanese players and some of the Chinese Taipei now playing for different teams. So now you're going to see a variety of different teams playing in Asia for opening, before the season starts, and then of course, hopefully, in
and
London.
How about the Rays?
London, England will get the
going to Cuba.
rivalries.
The Rays playing in Cuba.
Oh,
we forgot
well,
that.
They did Puerto Rico. Remember the Expo, the old
Yep.
Expos before the Nationals? They played Puerto Rico.
But think about it, Cuba.
Yeah, it's perfect.
A place you cannot go to. You just can't jump on a plane, get a ticket, and say, "I'm going to Cuba" from the U.S. They played in Cuba. That is going to be the next market.
That's going to be big.
And we're starting to see that market already. Major impacts in Major League Baseball games.
And then possibly Mexico City.
Absolutely.
Play some pro games as well. So baseball is full circle, man. It's
over 120 countries playing baseball.
Yeah.
Maybe even more than that now.
Super international. So before we close here, I do want to say one thing, because you mentioned you saw Ernie Banks, the one guy you wouldn't think you'd run into, There's one guy, he's not a sports guy. The one guy I ran into, I was in Beijing in 2008 during the Olympics. We were at a Italian restaurant. Yeah, and then Italian restaurant in China, but it was great food, by the way. But we went across the street to this club because I guess one of the Olympic organization people knew this guy. Said, he's got a club there, great little bar, watch some sports, whatever was on. And there was a guy we were having a nice conversation with. Some guy came up, started talking to us. Great guy, and he looked familiar, but nobody. They just said, "Here's my friend. He's visiting from England. His name is Jim." At this bar, right? He said, "It's a great guy. His name's Jim. You got to meet him." So we're talking about the business. We're having a good time. We're talking politics. We're talking sports. We're talking all kinds of great stuff. And of course, you can't talk about politics anymore, right? Because back then it was not a problem. Now you can. Yeah.
Now.
But we're talking about everything for 2 hours. And this guy's a great guy, and but as we knew, his name was Jim. So we're all outside, get ready to leave. Great conversation, great time. We go, this guy's great. Oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then we're all getting in our cabs on our way to get to our hotel, and some guy goes, "Hey, do you know who you were talking to?" I said, "That's some guy named Jim. I don't know who he is. Jim, James, I don't know." He goes, "That was Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin."
And you didn't recognize him?
No. Well, I did. He was recognizable, but he had gray hair, and he just didn't look like the days of, he didn't have his guitar, and he used to see him with black hair. But yeah, so and I went.
Baseball fan?
Big baseball fan. And he's from England, yeah. But he said he lived in Beijing 3 months out of the year, and he was good buddies with the guy who owned the nightclub. But so Jimmy Page.
Wow.
But I'm kind of glad I didn't know, because then you start kind of maybe being annoying. Hey, so that album you guys did, start talking about.
It's better you didn't recognize him.
Yeah. What's that?
It's better you didn't recognize him.
Yeah, it's better because you just be free. Some guy named Jim. So, but anyway, interesting time. But because you mentioned the Ernie Banks meeting him and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So. But anyway,
Looks like they're shutting the lights on us.
Yeah, I think once Team Japan leaves, we got to get out of here before they might lock us in here. But
hey, special thanks we want to give this out to Murray Cook and his crew.
Oh, Murray's the best.
The grounds crew. That is, they've worked on all the WBSC events. This, they turned this field into a magical field, as they did the London game field.
Yes.
They do them all over the world. Just outstanding groundskeepers. Without them, you're talking about the safety of the players, the looks of the field, what it looks like on television. Just incredible look.
It's a company called the Brickman Group. Murray Cook, president, does a great job. He's got great guys, great people working for him, like Bungie
with
Clark.
people skills. Yeah, Bungie Clark.
Yeah, communication skills, and they know their stuff. They've worked in minor league fields, major league fields around the United States, around the world. And we met a couple of guys here. There's a guy named Kevin Moses, who does a great job. He looks like a tall Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
I always call him Steve because he looks,
Hey, not an easy job dealing with multi-languages, easy, right?
No.
Any communicators, any translators.
That is tough, and they do a great job. They link in everybody. They always have a translator or a volunteer to help out. So Kevin Moses, and of course Cameron, and the guy we met from Australia,
and we got Cooper on the field right there.
Cooper's the best.
Cooper's on the field. He's closing up, and he's got to take a shower and get to the airport. He's flying back home right after this.
And he also is in charge of a minor league field around in the United States, I believe.
Yeah, these guys are all pros.
He just won an award. His field got his stadium that he is in charge of. This kid's only 21. He got a big time award. So he's he's going places, and Murray Cook gets the best guy. So we do.
See, folks,
Yeah.
he does his homework. You know, he knows.
Sometimes.
He knows everything. He knows everybody. He
Yeah.
knows their backgrounds. But that's a true professional in the game, right?
Got to prep sometimes. You got to
Absolutely.
be one step ahead of the
You
game.
can't just wing it.
No, especially not in the Olympics or any international. Some days the majors you can kind of walk
Yeah, wing
in
it once in
with
a
a
while.
cup of coffee and you go, hey, you know the players. You got, yeah, they're easy.
You do it every day. It's the same old.
Yeah,
Same old.
same lineup, same
Yep.
pronunciations, and same script. The whole thing.
You ever
But
want to
sometimes-
change the lineup when you see it?
Oh yeah, especially
You see the
yeah.
lineup?
Oh yeah, you go.
So that guy shouldn't be batting there.
I don't like this
Let's
guy.
just
Let's
flip
cross him
him.
out. Yeah. Well, it used to be that if the announcer would read the wrong player, that player had to play. Not anyway. It's official on the lineup sheet.
And then I got to ask you.
Yeah.
I know we got to close up. The lights is shutting down.
Yeah.
What about when a guy's on deck and it's the wrong batter? Who are you calling as a P announcer?
You wait, because it might be a wrong batter. It might be a different number. It might be a pinch hitter.
Right.
Umpire has to give me the call. He'll look at me at the press box.
What happens if the wrong guy's walking up
And the umpire doesn't do anything?
and the umpire doesn't do anything? What do you do as a P announcer? Boy, that's pressure.
Yeah, you know what? If that's number 19 and he's not on my roster, I'm just going to read number 19.
So you got to read the right guy because you can't
Yeah.
tell the other manager there's a
Yeah.
wrong guy coming up.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. So it's the umpire's job to, when a batter comes
Exactly.
in there, and he looks and says, hey, because he's got a line of card, the umpire, he's going
Yep.
to say, number 19,
Hey,
it should be number 20.
wrong guy.
He's going to go, hey, so,
Yeah.
And then,
All right, just trying to throw you a curveball last
No,
minute.
you did,
Right
but
before the show ends.
But the manager, yeah. Well, the manager always tell the umpire.
Right.
But if it ever happens, hey man, number 19, I'm reading it, So,
All right.
So we'll see what happens. Hey, Carlucci
We gotta go
Broadcast
eat.
International. Yeah, we're hungry. Carlucci Broadcast International. The Bottom Line doing a double play here in conjunction with P.Caliendo Sports International and Baseball Outside the Box.
And
Great
remember,
show.
not inside the box. This is outside the box. Sometimes you could be inside the box.
That's true. Yeah.
But this is outside. And why is it outside? I got to tell the folks.
Tell 'em.
This is the show that interviews baseball's best coaching minds who love to challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
And that's why it's called Baseball Outside the Box, because we want to go outside and figure out, we don't want the same old traditional stuff. We want to ask the question, why, all the time. Why do you do it this way? Is there a better way? Let's just not do it just because that's the way they did it all the time in the past. So that's it. We love that you're listening to the show. Don't forget, please go to our website, baseballoutsidethebox.com. Check out our Twitter, Baseball Out. We're all over social media. We got great videos, educational videos. We bring the best people in. As M.Carlucci is our guest also.
And he has other great guests too. Good.
Tony La Russa we've had.
Tony La Russa.
We've
You
had
have some
ones.
great coaches and some really good minor league instructors for bring these guys up to the majors.
Sports psychiatrist, which I need after an event like this because my mind just going
all the people we work with, I think they're all going to need a psychiatrist.
We've all the people dealing with us.
We've driven them pretty nuts here, but no, it's been great working with you. Great seeing you, Peter. And again, get on his website, get on his show, his Baseball Outside the Box. A lot of great guests, a lot of great information, especially for growing up in the world of baseball. The youth game, the youth program, the high school game, the minor leagues, the whole thing, and internationally as well. So anyway, the WBSC.org is you can log on there, get all the information about the world premiere 12 baseball tournament, and follow them along, Twitter, Facebook, the whole thing. It's been great. We could go on for another 3 hours, but I think Cooper's trying to get out of here too. He's trying to get this field because he's got to catch a
and
plane.
I think
here.
our driver's waiting too.
Oh yeah,
He
we're
just
gonna
text us.
Yeah, he might have just blown us. We might have to walk back.
Yeah, we're gonna have to walk back home.
Michael,
thank you.
My paisan. Hey,
Yes.
man. Safe travels. We'll see you in Tokyo next week. And again, remember, to get the answer, always dig deep for the bottom line. Mike Carlucci's out. Peter Caliendo, Baseball Outside the Box. We're
See you,
out for
folks.
now. Yep. And what do we say? Is it ni hao? And,
Ni hao.
Ni hao.